let us proceed to the next question regarding maternity benefit. So, we all know naman na ang nagbibigay ng maternity benefit ay si SSS, then ina-advance lang ni employer. So, kanino pwede mag-complain si female employee pag hindi in-advance ni employer yung kanyang maternity claim? Kasi marami kasing ganyang case, ma'am, na hindi talaga ina-advance kasi nag-aantay si employer na ma-reimburse or mabigay ni SSS yung claim ni employee sa kanila. Kasi marami din namang case, naintindihan din naman natin yung employer, na may case din na, for example, si employee, after niya makuha yung maternity claim niya, ay hindi na nag-provide ng supporting documents kay employer. So, paano po yun? Kanino po dapat mag-complain si employee?
Ayan. First muna, i-correct ko lang yung statement na under Republic Act number 11210 or the 105-day expanded maternity leave law, ang matatanggap ng empleyado ay full pay ng kanyang inaasahang sahod kung siya ay pumasok, assuming na siya hindi nag-maternity leave. At itong full pay, may dalawang component kasi ito. Ito yung SS maternity benefit at yung salary differential. So it is incorrect to state na ang maternity benefit solely kay SSS lang manggagaling. Kasi ito yung isa sa kaibahan ng dating maternity benefit tsaka yung present na maternity leave loan natin. So kapag ang concern ng empleyado is with respect sa SS maternity benefit, ito ay maaari niyang i-file with the Social Security System. Pero kapag ang concern naman ay pagdating sa pagbabayad ng salary differential, it is with the Dole Office na nakakasakop naman dun sa kanyang place. So actually, under the implementing rules and regulations of RA 11210, meron doong section na ang nakalagay dispute resolution. Doon naka-identify kung to which office sila pupunta, depende kung ang concern ba nila ay yung sa SS maternity benefit or po kaya yung sa kanilang salary differential.
Okay. Sige, ma'am. Then, for the next question regarding paternity leave. Ngayon, ang nagtatanong, para naman sa 7 days na paternity leave. So, bakit kailangan married yung isang male employee para makakuha ng 7 days paternity leave? While sa SSS, while si female naman, kahit di naman kasal, kahit sino, or should I say kahit ilan, pwede makakapag-avail. Paano kaya yung ano dun, ma'am?
Ayan, so again, iko-correct ko lang ulit yung sa statement ng dun sa, ano tawag ito, sa maternity. So under dun kasi sa previous na maternity leave benefit, pwede lang ma-avail yung benefit sa up to 4 deliveries. Ayan. Tapos under the expanded maternity leave law, tama ka nga, naging wala nang limit. So to address your question na bakit kay maternity leave walang limit, while kay paternity leave, up to 4 deliveries, we have to understand na ang grant kasi ng benefit na to, ito ay nakabase sa batas. Na ang batas, ang mismo nag-limit kung ilang beses or kung gaano karami pwede lang magamit itong benefit na ito. So like for the expanded maternity leave law, dahil sinabi ng RA 11210 na regardless of frequency, ayan, kaya unlimited. Pero unlike naman dito kay paternity leave, yung batas din kasi yung nagsabi na only up to 4 deliveries ng kanyang legitimate spouse. Kaya up to 4 lang din. Pero update na lang din, kung makikita po nila sa website ng House of Representatives tsaka ng Senate of the Philippines, there is actually a move or mga bill that was filed na aiming to expand yung bilang ng paternity leave or yung duration ng paternity leave, and also to expand yung yung coverage as to whether parang ma-expand na pati yung mga unmarried male ay makapag-avail. Ayan. Pero again, we have to distinguish kung ano ba yung role ng legislative tsaka ng executive. Kasi pagdating kay executive branch, we only execute kung ano ba yung nakalagay dun sa law. So as to the intent, bakit ganun yung pagkakasulat, it is already beyond my knowledge or my capacity. to look into the legislative intent ng ating mga mambabatas kung bakit ginawa nilang for married lang or up to 4.
Next question po regarding solo parent leave. So ngayon, ang tanong ng aking subscriber, ang employer ko po ay nagbibigay na ng 20 days leave, paid leave. Ang sabi nila sa akin, since meron na silang mas mahabang leave kaysa doon sa normal na 5 days plus 7 days na solo parent, hindi na nila ma-honor yung solo parent leave. So, pwede ba yun, ma'am?
Ayun. Ang sagot dyan, hindi pwede. Kasi very clear under Republic Act number 11861. Ito kasi yung law expanding naman yung parental leave benefits ng ating mga solo parents kung saan binibigyan sila ng 7 days parental leave. And this parental leave is on top ng kanilang existing leave privileges. So kung ang company ay nag-grant na ng 20 days paid leave na pwede nga nilang gamitin for vacation or leave purposes, or other causes na ginagrant uniformly sa lahat ng kanilang mga empleyado, then they are required to still grant additional 7 days of parental leave. However, if the company is already granting, aside dun sa 20 days sa paid leave, and nag-grant na sila, let's say, bago pa sa enactment nitong RA 11861 na 10 days parental leave, dahil meron na silang ginagrant na parental leave benefit na similar doon sa nire-require naman ng RA 11861, then they are no longer required to grant additional 7 days since compliance na yung existing na ginagrant nila na 10 days.
Okay, sige po. Next question po is about 13-month pay. Since nakalagay kasi sa law, dapat before December 24 of the same year ay ma-release yung 13-month pay ni employee. So wala bang ano dito, ma'am? Parang for example, si employee December 20 nag-resign. Then meron siyang let us say hindi pa nagka-clearance. Pwede bang i-hold ni employer yung kanyang 13-month pay?
Actually po, yes po. Pwede po siyang i-hold the employer kapag si employee ay nag-resign before the release ng 13th month pay. And also, as can be seen from the definition po ng last pay, as stated po sa Labor Advisory number 6 series of 2020, isa po sa mga component ng last pay ay yung kanyang proportionate 13th month pay.
Okay. So, pwede pala talagang i-hold kahit hindi na sumunod doon sa December 24 na releasing period.
Not necessarily hindi siya sumunod dun sa December 24 na releasing period kasi we also have to take note that the employee resigned before the release of the before the release of 13th month pay ng December 24.
Okay, sige ma'am. So for the next question, let us differentiate itong mga term na nako-confuse yung mga tao na gamitin, yung separation pay, back pay, and final pay. Ano po ba yung pinagkaiba nila?
For separation pay, ito kasi yung compensation na binibigay ng employer sa mga empleyado na terminated due to authorized cause. Ano ba tong mga authorized cause? So nandito yung retrenchment, yung redundancy, or po kaya closure, or po kaya installation of labor-saving devices. While yung final pay, tsaka yung back pay, sama na natin last pay, so interchangeably kasi itong tatlong to nagagamit. So ito naman yung totality or sum of wages and other monetary benefits that is due to the employee. So yung yung definition ng last pay, back pay, tsaka po final pay, nakasulat din po ito doon sa Labor Advisory number 6 series of 2020.
Okay. So almost the same lang pala yung separation pay lang yung medyo na iba.
Yes.
Question po ng subscribers ko po ay tungkol naman sa mga existing benefits na binibigay ng kanilang employer. So sa case po ni subscribers ko, currently nakaka-receive siya ng 20 days paid leave from his employer. Nakaka-receive din po siya ng HMO for almost 5 years na doon sa same company. Ngayon po, may pumasok daw na parang panibagong HR or Vice President for HR at tinanggal or ni-remove yung mga existing benefits. Ang 20 days leave ay ginawa na lang 5 days leave, then yung HMO po ay ni-remove totally. So ano po ba
Mhm.
yung say ni Department of Labor regarding this one?
Mhm. Ayan. So, kung ang question niya ay kung mayroong bang diminution of benefit, una kailangan nating i-revisit. Ano ba yung sinasabi ng principle of diminution of benefit? So, jurisprudence provides na there is diminution of benefit kapag ang isang company practice favorable to the employee has ripened into benefits and supplements. And as such, it cannot be reduced, diminished, discontinued, or po kaya eliminated by the employer. Pero meron tayong kailangang apat na tingnan kung kailan ba natin masasabing mayroong diminution of benefit. Una, yung grant ng sinasabi nating benefit is founded on a company policy or po kaya itong practice has ripened over a period of time. Pangalawa naman, itong practice is consistent and deliberate. So, ano siya, intentional na talagang ibigay siya through practice. Tapos, pangatlo, itong practice is not due to error sa construction or application daw po ng doubtful or difficult question of law. And lastly, yung diminution or discontinuance daw po nitong benefit was not done unilaterally by the employer. So, dun sa case po na shinare po ninyo from your subscriber, yung sa kanyang HMO, ang kailangan niya munang matukoy ay yung presence ng apat na sinabi ko. So kung present po itong apat na ito ay founded sa isang company policy or practice. Ang practice na to ay consistent at deliberate at ang practice ay not due to error in the construction or po kaya application daw po ng doubtful or difficult question of law. At finally, ang discontinuation or discontinuance po ng HMO benefit na to ay hindi unilateral rather, then there is diminution. Pero in the absence of these four requisites, then there is no diminution of benefit.
Okay. So sa case niya ma'am,
Yan.
since 5 years na consistent na nagbibigay ng HMO at 20 days leave, so pasok siya
Mhm.
doon sa diminution of
In
benefits.
Hindi rin natin masasabing pasok kasi again, kailangan muna nating tignan kung present ba yung apat na requisites na sinabi ko. And as to the duration ng practice na ito, wala kasi specific length na tinitignan para masabi ng isang practice has already ripened into a benefit. Actually, if you will check yung jurisprudence, iba-iba yung years na naging basihan para nasabi ng Korte Suprema na ang isang practice has already ripened to benefit. There is one case na 5 years, may isang case 15 years. So, consistent din naman sa jurisprudence na nakalagay na wala daw tayong hard and fast rule as to the length of time that a company practice should be exercised in order for this to constitute a voluntary employer practice that already ripened into a benefit or right na demandable by the employee.
Okay. Sige. Thank you for that, ma'am. And for my last question for this topic, regarding naman po ito sa task base na hindi related sa job description. So, isa sa subscribers ko ang nag-comment, isa daw siyang production staff. Then, isa din sa mga subscribers ko nag-comment, isa daw siyang admin staff sa kanilang company. So, itong si production staff, pinapapunta daw sa bahay ni employer para mag-alaga ng aso. Si admin naman ay pinapapunta sa school ng employer niya para magbayad ng tuition. So, pasok ba to doon sa tinatawag na other task as assigned by the immediate head?
Ayun. As to the other tasks assigned by the immediate head, una, tingnan muna natin, work-related ba kung saan ka namasukan itong other tasks na pinagagawa. Kasi kung hindi naman ito related doon uh, sa tawag ito, posisyon na in-applyan mo kung saan ikaw ay hinire, then hindi siya pasok. Ayun. Ganun lang naman natin siya.
Opo. So,
Ayun, siguro, pwede
sa
na lang
case niya
i-ano.
hindi siya pasok. Paano yun, ma'am? Pwede ba siyang mag-file ng complaint?
Pag magpa-file kasi ng complaint, kasi ano siya tawag dito, siguro off the record na lang to, yung ganun kasing case na personal errands, hindi siya, hindi siya labor concern. So,
Okay.
ano siya, internal company concern na pwede niyang i-raise dun sa proper authority within the company. Lalo
Oh,
na kung multi-level company naman siya or large company.
yun nga. Paano yun, ma'am, kung owner mismo yung nag-uutos sa kanya? So,
Siya
kapag
naman,
inilan siya,
pwede, ayun naman, understandable naman. Pwede siyang i-refuse kasi hindi naman siya work-related. Unless na lang kung ang kung ang tawag ito, kung ang position niya ay dog walker siya, ganyan, or PA, di ba? Pero kung ang pinasukan niya, like yung sinabi mo nga, is siya naman ay, ano yun, admin
production staff,
worker,
product,
ayun, construction staff, production staff. Tapos, ang pinapagawa naman sa kanya has nothing to do with being a production staff, then the employee has the right to refuse to perform such other tasks that is remotely related doon sa kanyang job description. So, though siya ay magre-refuse, nandiyan yung fear of retaliation. Pero si employee, meron naman siyang mapanghahawakan din na yung kanyang refusal to perform such task is valid because it is not related doon sa kanyang trabaho. As in, if you can see, it is really remotely related. So, wala ring ground si employer na
enforce.
i, rather parang i-sanction si employee ng insubordination. Kasi kung titignan naman natin ang grounds when there exists insubordination, meron dapat refusal to perform yung kanyang duty. Hindi naman part ng duty niya yung ganong
Yun nga.
task.
Okay.
Ayan. So we have to check kung ano ba yung kanyang job description, ano ba yung kanyang function, at ano ba yung task na pinapagawa sa kanya. Hello everyone. So para sa guidance ng nakararami, kung gusto pa ninyo magkaroon ng karagdagang kaalaman kung ano ba yung uh, karapatan ninyo sa ilalim ng batas, meron po kami handbook. So ito po ay available sa website ng Bureau of Working Conditions ng Department of Labor and Employment. At dagdag dito, every Wednesday, meron po kaming Webinar Wednesday kung saan tinatalakay po namin ang iba't ibang issue patungkol po sa labor and employment. Or, ayan.
Bali, anong website or anong Facebook channel yun, ma'am, na every Wednesday nagpapublish?
Actually po, naka-Facebook Live po kami every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Wednesday, 2 p.m.
Ano po yung name ng Facebook channel?
Yung Facebook po, Dole-Bureau of Working Conditions. Pwede rin nilang i-search fb.com/BWC1949.
Okay. Sige, ma'am. Bali, yun lang naman, ma'am. Maraming salamat po sa pagpapa-unlock nitong interview na ito. Thank you po again.
You're welcome. Thank you.